Hello, I'm Ryan Bell. I am Marketing Director at Comcast SportsTech, an accelerator program for sports startups situated here in Atlanta. And I have the amazing privilege to talk with Umama Kibria today. And she is a influencer, a co-founder, a CEO of Sweatpack, Forbes 30 under 30 boss. If you see the Forbes in the background, she's not going to talk about it. She's just going to have it there. She's a TEDx speaker. She was named, what was it? Atlanta Magazine's best fitness influencer, 11 Alive's community spotlight leader, and so much more. Did I miss anything? There's so much there. Hi, Umama.
What's up? Thank you for that warm introduction. But I think the only thing missing is just a really good friend and community leader that loves giving back.
Oh, nice and feely and everything. This is such an amazing time to be talking with you about being a leader in the Atlanta community, in the Georgia community. We just elected the first woman, but not just the first woman of color as VP. And I kind of wanted to start it with this because we're always looking for, diversity and inclusion type of things. And I wanted to ask you to start off with, who are some of your favorite female leaders?
Well, that is a great way to get this started. And let me tell you guys, what a time to be alive and be a female leader in this industry. Politics, social media, technology, we're taking over everything right now. But I think really what the key component in all of these women leaders is they use pain to empower them. They use their emotional intelligence to get after it. I mean, think about it. Like Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, she is a phenomenal leader that has faced so much adversity in her career to get to where she wanted to be here. And as she mentioned, she's not going to be the last woman in this office. And she is setting the precedent for every single woman to be able to take after. And that's the mindset behind some of my favorite female leaders out there. Kamala, who's doing so much for the Southeast Asian community. I'm Bengali, she's a half Indian. So it's amazing to see that, I grew up thinking I could only be a doctor or I had to go into science. But it's amazing to see, no, now I can be an entrepreneur. I can be a political leader. I can start my own business, whatever I want. And some other leaders that represent this is like Stacey Abrams, right? Like, hell yeah to Stacey Abrams for channeling her pain into power, channeling what she knows her community needs and being the leader that needed to serve her community. Other people that do that, Ariana Huffington, who talks a lot about the mental health behind startup founders, which I really align with. Taylor Swift, huge impact on my life. Someone that is transparent in her journey and isn't afraid to evolve, who gave me permission to know that, hey, I don't have to stay in one lane. I can continue to build on my career and take on all these new lanes. And I think just lastly, I'd like to always end it off by saying that I'm my own inspiration because I have fought through so much adversity to get to the place that I'm at. And it's really the community of women that I surround myself with that have inspired me and motivated me to keep pushing on.
So that's really such an amazing way to look at the broad community. Since we're talking Atlanta Startup Week, and we're here, and a lot of people don't know who to follow. So what type of organizations, news outlets, especially in the startup scene and just the Atlanta scene, who should we be looking at there?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the female leaders that has truly inspired my journey and helped create opportunities is Karen Houghton over at Atlanta Tech Village. She's the VP there. She is someone that genuinely believes in diversity and, more importantly, inclusion. She creates opportunities for people and makes sure that they're aware of them. So definitely follow Karen. And just Atlanta Tech Village, if you read their newsletter, they have all the resources on there following people like Comcast Sports and Boomtown, Techstars. Who else do I follow? I follow just Atlanta Tech Village, ATDC, and F56. All of these people and organizations are resource hubs, especially in the Atlanta ecosystem, that genuinely want to create opportunities for other people. I believe Hypotamus does a great job at highlighting the founders and their journey. And that's why I believe in really going out to these networking events, or virtually going to these events, and connecting with people in the comments, in the chat section, and figuring out how can we support each other. Because I think really the best mentors we have are the ones that are beside us, the founders that are going through the same journey as us. A lot of my cohort members from the accelerator programs I've been in have been my greatest assets. They're the ones that tell me about these pitch competition, funding opportunities, grants. And really, I believe that's where we're missing that network. And I think so many more founders need to make more of an initiative to foster those friendship with founders versus looking at them as competition.
This is going to be like we're 6 minutes in, and I can already tell this is going to be a 6-hour fireside chat. This is it. So I mean, I love the accelerator program because Comcast SportsTech is an accelerator program, you know, and hearing how it works and hearing how it works for somebody individually is such an important thing for us to continue to make accelerator programs and our programs better and more suited for our individual cohorts and our individual founders. Mm-hmm. And on the diversity, the D&I stuff, Comcast recently announced Comcast Rise, which is a 3-year program to help Black-owned businesses with marketing and tech. And also, you know, beginning of the year, they committed $100 million to help in 5 areas. And those 5 areas are social justice, employees, awareness and education, digital equity, and small business opportunity. So, you know, I always tell all my friends to make sure they're looking to see where their business is trying to make a difference. So, you know, that should be kind of a call to everyone who's watching this. See what your business is doing. If they're not doing something, hey, you know, say, hey, why don't we do something? So I kind of wanted to change gears for a split second and then go back to the accelerator program, because this panel is about founder fitness and startups. So this is like a hard question that I'm constantly trying to answer for myself. How do you define fitness?
Fitness for me is a state of mind that fuels your big goals. It's actually using movement to create momentum in our lives. And for me, it's 100% selfish way for me to invest in myself, invest into my mindset, believe in my self-confidence, discipline, and community, and then going out there and taking that and applying that to the real world. I actually just started an Instagram story today about the superset mindset we learned from fitness, which is how do we do things that are both complementary to each other, but still helps us feed into that big goal. And for me, fitness really is that key component that allows me to do anything that I want to accomplish.
You mentioned Instagram, and man, you keep me off the rails. You keep me off track constantly. One of the things I know about you is that you started kind of in what I would consider an ass backwards way for your business. You started as like a social media influencer, and you used that to build a community. Could you first start out with just the very beginning of your entrepreneurial journey? When did this start, and why did it start?
Yeah. Could we take it back to birth? I think my parents, so it's funny, actually mentioning Kamala earlier, she mentioned how so many people mispronounce her name and how that is the greatest gift that our parents give to us, because it's the legacy that we pass on, and it truly takes on who we are. And for me, my name Umama, the root of it actually means community. So I've always been, I know, right?
I
I've
did not know
always
that.
been this community leader that has used both social media, marketing, my skills to keep people together and foster activity. So through clubs, my organizations, and other startups, I always knew I had this entrepreneur blood in me, but it wasn't until I figured out fitness as that missing link to what I was going to go out there and pursue and the channel I was going to pursue it. So in 2015, I started my social media platform 100% selfishly for me to share my journey. I didn't have my face, I didn't have my name on it. So it was genuinely to meet other people and figure out what their problems were. But in November 2016, when the last election happened, I recognized, oh shit, I've got to take control of my own journey in order to create opportunities for myself. No one's going to be here to save me, but I've got to step up as a leader now and be there for other people. And so really that's when my entrepreneur brain kicked in. And I started first using my platform as a way to connect people through events. Then I jumped into, okay, how can I create opportunities on the customer acquisition side for gyms? So I ended up working out at over 400 gyms across the world. And then finding out that these gyms needed help with their marketing. So I was doing two of these things side by side, helping the customers, helping the brands. But ultimately, I knew that I was going to have to use this powerful platform to create opportunities for other people. And that's where the marketplace concept for Sweatpack came alive. So I truly believe every entrepreneur should be creating this community online because they're going to help us build the right product, solve a problem, and actually help us scale it with the lowest customer acquisition cost there is.
Is there a simple way for you to tell us the steps that it took from inception to, creating a plan and building a team? I know about Sweatpack, and I've already done some signing up, and I'm trying to figure out how to put all my Peloton stuff on there and all that stuff. So, first tell us what Sweatpack really is at its heart, and then tell us where it started. So heart to start.
Heart to start. I love that. So Sweatpack's goal is to keep people active and stay accountable. We recognize people have the hardest time staying consistent with their fitness journey. But what I learned from my 10 years in playing social sports is that people are willing to show up once a week with a random group of strangers with this common goal of being active and having some sort of competition. But what was missing in the fitness industry was that same exact structure. Why can't I join a yoga team or a CrossFit teams or bar team, something that I want to try out, but with a group of people that has that once a week commitment? So when people come onto the platform, it's a team matching platform. You can join with your friends, a group of 6 people, or we'll match you with people that have same goals as you. Create that schedule and reward you for showing up on a weekly basis. But the reason our model works so well and we have a 75% retention rate is because we know it's not just about showing up, but it's about feeling included, like you matter, like a team actually supports you. So the technology has both the chat features that keep people engaged all day long competing. You can upload your activity throughout the week to get points for that, but also socializing. That's a big component. I want to go grab a beer after we finish our flag football game, right? That's how we foster community, and that's how we get people to show up again. And so really just merging those two worlds is how Sweatpack came to be. And for my personal journey, knowing I had gotten laid off, I had just gotten broken up with, got a major therapy bill, and I just realized this once a week commitment with my team was the one thing that was holding me accountable for staying active, but still feeling connected with myself.
Okay, that's a lot of like passion right there. And how can other leaders use the passion, these emotions, and translate that passion into action, into starting things? You know,
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that you've spoken about at your TEDx event, and that's kind of your brand. Give us
Exactly.
that how do we make our passion into rocket fuel, or whatever, however you want to say it.
Absolutely. I'm going to give you guys a 3-step tactical strategy. Number 1, whip out your phone, record yourself in the hype of your emotion. When you are crying, when you are super excited about a problem that you want to solve, visually seeing yourself and having this kind of database of your emotions and why you are so committed to solving this problem brings us back to that why. So that's step 1. Step 2, find a community of other people that also have the same problem. Create content around it. I don't care if you have 5 followers or 500,000 followers. Find out and have real communication with them to see what exactly it is that they're struggling with and what you can do to help. Find out all the resources that you have that are available and create content around that. But ultimately, figure out what are all these different pieces that people are using and how can you bring it together on one platform. Hence, marketplaces work so well, right? It's a culmination of all these things people are looking for. The step 3 is go out there and do the work. Go out there to host events, connect with people in real life, connect with the business owners, and figure out what the impact is going to be with your product. But you've got to test it out. And a lot of the times what hurdles people from getting started is this mindset of, oh, I don't have $150,000 to invest into technology. Well, learn it. We have this huge no-code movement going on right now, which is how I built our platform, using Glide, using Bubble, and figuring out what can I do right now that solves this problem from people. Then go back to the beginning, figure out that why, ask your community, how can I iterate? Put it into play. And when you use these 3 steps continuously, that's how we continue to evolve and grow together.
So as we evolve and we do grow together, we've come into this time of COVID, right? How did you adapt? Because a lot of your community is based upon getting together IRL, as the children say. But sorry,
You're
too
cool,
much.
Ryan.
Yeah, too much.
Cool
Too
young
much
kid.
coffee. Don't patronize me. I know I'm not. It's all good. But how do you rise above this, and how do you change in these times? And I think that it's such a played out question, but it's necessary for everyone to understand how others are doing it so that they can implement some part of that strategy. So as a community leader, as someone who understands how to bring people from one place to another, how do you make that work?
Absolutely. Yeah, and the reality is it's tough. It's tough on ourselves, it's tough on our community. But I think the number one thing we need to go back to is, why are we doing what we're doing? Right? There's so many different outlets to be able to process and offer a solution. So when we go back to that why, take a pause, right? This is something I learned in therapy, which was, don't let the wave just kind of go over you and under you. Let it go through you. Feel the emotions. So during that time, especially in COVID, it was like early March, we were about to launch all of our in-person Sweatpacks. But my co-founder, Marvin, and I really had to take a step back and say, okay, what is it that we're really doing? What's our real purpose? And our real purpose was to help connect people and help them stay committed. Maybe that didn't mean connecting them in real life and committing to in-person gyms, but that meant, okay, let's speed up the timeline on this new digital aspect we were going to incorporate. Right? How do we do this with speed, but making sure we still keep people consistent and connected? So for us, started with us channeling into ourselves, then 2, asking our people what they wanted, And really, we did a lot of research on what was trending in the industry, past trends, and how we could put it together with our mission. So we came up with the Sweatpack Olympics, which was actually a really quick way for us to just say, hey, we're going to connect you with a team of 6 people virtually. You guys are going to compete together to stay active for 30 minutes a day, right? We know ultimately our goal is to keep you active with your team. So we had a leaderboard component. Everyone was competing and socializing. And it was amazing to see in the chats how supportive they all were for each other, not just with fitness, but opening up about what was going on in the world, their mental health. So really, we let the community speak for us. And to our surprise, we doubled in growth. We doubled in revenue during this time. And it's because we went back to that why and that purpose. Because sometimes it's not going to look as pretty as we wanted to in linear, right? So we've got to stay connected to that purpose and then talk to the people this affects, because the answer is within them. And so this is why I preach fitness so much, because we learned resiliency. I teach people this analogy of doing this box jump where you're trying to get to the highest step, but sometimes you fail and fall in front of a crowded gym. But what do? Do we let the box conquer us, or do we conquer the box? Sometimes that means starting over, and sometimes that means creating our own box. But every time, we always come back more powerful, because we are committed to the ultimate goal of getting on top.
Well, let's beat that box. That's
Wait till you see this TED Talk I did. I actually did the box jumps on stage, so I'm excited for you guys to see that analogy.
Yeah. I'm not doing that. I bust my ass on stage.
Mentally.
Yeah. No, I already know I failed at that. Even before I get on the stage. Speaking of all these opportunities, being on the TED Talks and the opportunities you found through Forbes, all these PR opportunities. It's such an amazing thing for me to see, because that is one of the big skill sets that founders don't have, and they're not already doing it. So how do you find these opportunities, and how would you guide other founders and startups and say this is the path to find this voice? Because your voice leads you to sales, to app downloads, to website views, and all those things that we absolutely need. So what is that path? Give us the path, Umama.
Yeah. So it goes back to that video we recorded, right? What's our ultimate why? Then understanding, how can I create value for other people? And leading with value is what creates that thought leadership brand for yourself. So I'm always going to push founders to create their personal brand, but do it in a place where your community lives. For me, my community lives on Instagram, on YouTube, TikTok, and that's why I'm not that big on Twitter. But find out where your community is and create valuable content where they trust you as that leader. Then what actually happens is this thing called developing cheerleaders. Actually, the funny story is I signed my Nike and Adidas deals through my DM. They slid into my...
Wait, I didn't know you had Nike and Adidas deals now. Dang.
Oh, yeah. So Adidas was our first big corporate client, and then Mercedes-Benz Stadium came after that. But all of them, they found me and my profile because people that work at those organizations were following me. They knew that, hey, if we're in Atlanta, we're thinking about sports and fitness, Umama is the thought leader in that space, right? So even like with Techstars Sports Week, I'm on 2 panels this week because I am the fitness leader here in Atlanta. And I've created that brand, that trustworthy brand, by writing articles on LinkedIn, creating valuable posts on Instagram, but really having connections with and fostering the connections with these thought leaders in these big organizations. So find out who the cheerleaders are, or create content and they'll think of you when big opportunities come. So even for the TEDx opportunity, I actually applied to TED 5 times last year and didn't get it. But this year I got it as someone from TEDx actually slid into my LinkedIn DMs. I'm telling you, all the business goes down in the DMs. So take advantage of it. And as far as next step tactical strategies, you want to actually have these conversations in person. Be at every event that you can be at, right? Like I'm seeing Kevin White on here, Natalie, Shamita, all of you guys are people that I know have been consistent on my platforms. So when I think of opportunities, I'm going to send them your way and vice versa, right? So create this culture of trust, but people know that I'm that friend that is going to refer them to opportunities. And I truly believe in really great karma. When I refer them, opportunities also come my way. So just being a good, genuine human works.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that. You know, I can give you a break to breathe because I wanted to tell my experience. I started out, and my first the first sponsored things that I got paid for was from a shoe company, but it was from a children's shoe company. It was called Petty Ped, and and so I got paid to write some content, and I was like, this is a big win, and then I started working with a local jeweler, and that's when I was living in Berkeley, California. And you have to start with these things because you're learning the ropes. One, two, you're building your community, your cheerleaders, and as I continued on with helping startups and building my own startups and building my own communities, within a year or two, I was working with BMW. I was speaking at NATO headquarters. You know, so realize when you're starting small that it's a necessary step to get to these bigger places, and never be, always be proud that someone trusts you enough to pay you to do what you're good at. You know, I mean, like I'll always remember getting that check from that child footwear company, you know, and I was like, this was my first foray into being my own business. And the next thing I know, I'm like, dang, I'm doing bigger things, and I'm doing bigger things. And now I'm just a tired old man, but I got to do some cool. I'm just joking. but
you're very energized, and you are an example of a community leader. I think just to expand on that, having that platform of, hey, I'm going to do all the grind work at the beginning to attract these big opportunities. But the main thing is, how do you find these opportunities? One thing one of my favorite founders told me was to set Google alerts on. So you can actually go on Google and say, search anytime women in tech grants, or Atlanta accelerators, or Comcast Sports, Boomtown, whatever. Like, you can set up alerts so every day you figure out what's going on around the world and what you can apply to, and apply the shit to everything. Even if you don't get it right now, that opportunity may come up in the future. Subscribe to newsletters that actually have tactical strategies and things you can apply to, like Atlanta Tech Village or Beyond the Game Network for specifically sports related things. All of those things, look out for them, apply no matter what, and build on your skills from that.
Oh man, I need some serious, like, preach emojis and icons and all that stuff, because that's so true. You know, hit up newsletters. You mentioned Hippopotamus earlier.
Yep.
Our newsletter, one of our newsletters, I work on myself, and I love it because it keeps me attached to what's going on in the community. I love putting that thing together, and you know, and so then, because I know it, not only am I putting it together and learning everything that I'm trying to teach everybody else, but I'm connecting to the other outlets that are creating the content, and I'm learning how to use a tool that we all need to use. You know, our company, we use HubSpot, which is, you know, kind of a standard thing. So I'd say as founders, do your newsletters and write about your thoughts, and then add other people's stuff, because it's going to show up, and that's how you create this thought leadership of yourself, and you develop that through that. You can't do it in a vacuum, and too many people have tried that. You have to learn before you are a thought leader.
Absolutely. And teaching as you're learning too is what I've learned is the biggest asset. Building in public is this new movement of founders actually showing the transparent journey of what they're learning, what they're failing at, what they're achieving, so more people know about these opportunities. So I challenge everyone to be more transparent in that.
All right, so we get burnout because you see the energy that you and I possess and everything. How do you keep up your momentum as a founder with a small team and just go Buffalo all the time? How do you keep that momentum, my friend?
Well, I drink a lot of pre-workout. I'm not a coffee drinker, but yeah, exactly. So supplements definitely help, but also I think food is one of the most important things for keeping our brain rich and organized. I actually use food to help me break up my day. So I'll do my workout, have my 11 a.m. meal, then a 1 p.m. snack, 3 p.m., 5, 6, 9. So that way I know, okay, I have to take an intentional break when I'm eating, so I'm really focused. I use the palindrome method where you work 90 minutes and you take a break for 20 minutes. So it kind of goes back to that superset mindset I was telling you about, where you've got to stay super focused on just getting shit done during this time segment, but then go on Instagram for 20 minutes or walk around, get your steps in, or get in a snack. Creating those divisions helps me prevent that burnout. But also, I take quarterly social media diets where I've deleted all social media accounts, and I'm focused on re-energizing myself with what I'm doing, expressing my creativity, and making sure I block out any kind of negative thoughts or competition mindsets. And I think all of us as founders need to do that as we continue to do research on our competitors and have these small teams. And then the last thing I'll just end off on is just making sure you have your 3 values set out. For me, growth, love, adventure. If I'm not fulfilling those 3 things during my day, I know I need to take a break and step away and feed myself a little bit before I go out and accomplish a lot more things for other people. So define those 3 values, and that will help create structure.
It's so cool. So we've talked about this. I'm a big summer camp nerd.
Oh yeah.
Like I went to summer camp as a kid, and I was a summer camp counselor up in North Georgia at Camp Toccoa, and at Camp Toccoa they have this saying, because everything's supposed to sound kind of Native American. It's called "Wo He Lo," and it means work, health, love. And I've always loved that. And I'm not brave enough to get like a tattoo or anything like that. I don't know where to put it,
Strap it.
Just wherever, our forehead. I don't know.
Yeah.
But as we try to find these ways to be healthy in our work and our health and in our life of love, it's interesting to me to think of them as a balance of digital and as a balance of being off digital. And that's one of the hardest things that I think you're touching on, because I like to look at the way that I feel in comparison to how much time I spend on certain apps. Like if I am on Facebook and Twitter a lot, then I'm not as happy as when I'm on using Strava or Headspace or Calm or anything like that. So I'm in a good place today. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm in a good place. And that's because I meditated on Headspace last night, and I meditated this morning, and then I got on the Peloton, and happy guy, but if I would have been sitting there like, oh my goodness, look at this, I wouldn't be happy. So could you tell me what the future of Sweatpack looks like, because as we talk about this, I keep thinking about how we have this gamification plus social with fitness. I want to understand this more, because my business, we invest in startups that create things like this. Our investment areas include this player performance aspect, and these wearable aspects. Look at these investment areas, because we studied like hell to figure out where the most important things to put our focus into are. So tell me what that future of Sweatpack looks like, where you want to be, what you want to do, who you want to work with.
Well, let me start off by saying thank you for the work that you guys are doing, both on the research side, but also investing in these companies that are helping with our physical and mental health. As you kind of described your day or yesterday and today, that's a lot of connected fitness, right? Which is inevitably the future of fitness. It's going more towards the connected division. But with more connected fitness comes this need for community, for this socializing, for being in person, feeding off their energies, and learning how to do things in a team. And so that's where Sweatpack comes in as this complementary feature that not only helps us stay active, but we're learning leadership skills that are actually going to be implemented into our work days and our lifestyles. I'm telling people, find whatever fitness routine works for you, but ultimately it comes down to what you can commit to. And our generation, I love us. We can change the world, but the C word is the scariest word out there, which is commitment. But commitment is all just about finding something you love and complementing it with people that you enjoy being around. But ultimately, it needs to fit into a big goal. And that's how Sweatpack is strategically placed into your life to be complementary and to help both support you on the sweat side and the socializing side.
Love it. So I just wanted to point out how proud I am of us, because we've kept us together this whole time without going absolutely insane, and we're coming up on time to go into audience questions. So taking the note from George Costanza, after you've done pretty good, you get out of there. I want to be that guy. I don't want to hang around too long until everybody's bored. But we got some really good questions from social and from chat, and this is my favorite one from Olivia. Oh yeah, this one hurts. This one's so good. How do you make sure your personal brand stays true to yourself?
Ooh, okay. Well, number one, that's why you do those social media diets. That 1 week where you are not absorbing any content, no books, no podcasts, no Instagrams, no LinkedIn, whatever. It is a time to channel in on your why you are the person to deliver on that content, and your specific creative strategy. I've evolved so much over the past 5 years through my personal brand, and it's because I know how to take those intentional breaks to channel back into my why. So I think complementing that with a really great collaboration and engagement strategy. Collaborate with people who have the people that you want to attract. Collaborate with other influencers or content creators that share the same mindset as you, and rebuild your community to stay focused on who you are. But ultimately, it comes down to engagement marketing, which is you've got to talk to the people. You've got to bring the people into your community. Find them through Facebook groups, hashtags, or searching other influencers' profiles. But that's really what helps us stay tuned in to our personal brand.
All right, that's right. All right, now I got another one, even harder, and I hope that it throws you on your back and you're turtling. Are you ready? When the turtles try to get up.
There's a funny meme that's out there about that right now. I don't know if you've seen it. Never mind. I'll tell you.
We'll go to text for that one. All right, Trey asks, How did you stay focused and undefeated when the small opportunities weren't exactly going your way and the big opportunities didn't seem close? All right. If if you want, I can start that one out because,
Go for it.
all right, all right. How did I stay focused and undefeated when the small opportunities weren't exactly going my way and the big opportunities didn't stay close? For me, it was just blind stupidity. It really was. It was not knowing what I was doing and wanting to learn. It was passion about what I was doing. It was knowing that I loved what I was doing. I had left, and God bless the universe, bless my wife. I was working and selling insurance to major companies, and I was in a little carpet cubicle, and I told my wife I wasn't happy, and I needed to find something that made me happy. So I started working on my own, and because I'd found a niche, I started working with startups in live streaming. I was working with Periscope. I was working with a music startup that was doing that. I loved it. I loved it. I worked so hard. And it was all about that passion. It was all about that. That's what it was. And I didn't care that I wasn't making that much money. And every once in a while, I would start caring, and I would take the other jobs because I was getting poorer, like,
I feel that.
because your passion takes over everything. But then with these learnings of being a startup, being an entrepreneur, and finding where that passion is and the balance of needing money, that's where you start to find where your skills are and where the value of your skills are. And next thing I know, I'm actually getting paid for doing things that I love, and I'm not in a carpeted cubicle. So I think that's my answer. The smaller opportunities, they're hard to find at first, but you'll find them. Find them through friends. Find them through social. Find them through Fiverr. Find them through whatever, and then tell people what you did and how you did it, because then they see you as a thought leader. They're like, wow. It doesn't matter you're giving away your secret sauce, because your secret sauce is going to change. You do something one time, you're going to do it better the next time. And that's what I did, and that's how I live my life. I think that's it for me. Umama, what about you?
Well, I love your story of resiliency, Ryan. And that's exactly what we learn with this athlete mindset, right? With athletes, we learn we've got to train every little muscle. Sometimes we don't know if we're going to actually put it into good use, but what ends up happening is those small muscles help feed into those big plays. And I think about that athlete mindset when I take on these smaller opportunities and say yes to, let's say, a content piece, hosting an event, or a smaller client in a big amount of work, right? For me, I have to learn that, okay, what is the lesson that's going to come out of this? Who am I going to meet through this? What skills am I going to develop through this? But ultimately, as an athlete, we learn we've got to follow through on the play. If we have made a commitment and said we're going to do something, we've got to see it through. And sometimes with the big deals, right? Like they might be flashy and really awesome to look at, but ultimately the back end, you're realizing it's not really advancing you forward. But the combination of the two are ultimately what creates us into these thought leaders and attracts the opportunities that are hell yeses for us. But we have to get through those smaller moments when we're starting off and saying yes to things that we know we can follow through with and that align with our future skills, to ultimately be able to say hell no to opportunities that don't align and hell yes to opportunities that feel right, do right, and live in the life for like Ryan here.
This whole conversation is so important in Atlanta. How do you see us as individuals or as companies helping Atlanta startups and helping founders even more? how do you see that? What is the best case scenario for that?
Yeah, the best case scenario is definitely us working together to create a capital hub, right? I think we've done an amazing job with creating community, right? The South mentality of being a friend to everyone, but ultimately following through is where I believe our next challenge is, and where I'm excited to see Atlanta go, as far as from voting to the ecosystem builders to VCs that are here. How are we going to follow through on these diversity and inclusion metrics to not only create the metric of rising the diversity, but the movement with the inclusion piece, and making sure that we actually are helping each other grow to that next level through capital, connections, and customers. So I am definitely excited to see all that happening here in Atlanta. But it starts with you and recognizing the power that's within you. So go train yourself through fitness.
I like that. It's like Southern startup hospitality, right? You know, I really like that. And thank you so much for like rolling with these punches. We only talked about maybe 30% of these questions, and the rest, you're just such a boss that you're able to roll with it and sound like you're ready for anything. And that's amazing.
Thanks,
So
Ryan.
we are hitting time, and I want to be very conscious of yours because I know how much time you need to change the world. Would you give us, you know, your website, where to find you on social, all those things, so and kind of give a wrap up of of everything that we've talked about, and we'll close her down.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you guys left with 3 things. Number 1, learning the importance of having a personal brand through content, collaboration, and engagement. 2, I want to make sure you're investing time in yourself, right? Fueling yourself through fitness and nutrition, because if you don't serve yourself, then you are no good to anyone else. And 3, finding mentorship everywhere, right? From the accelerator programs we join, the founders that we connect with, going to these events and genuinely trying to help rise each other up with this collaborative mentality. And with that, I would love to help support you. So definitely hit me up on LinkedIn at Umama Kibria, or Instagram smallandstrong.co, and definitely support Sweatpack and join your fitness team. Find us on Instagram, Team Sweatpack, or sweatpack.co.
Thank you so much, Umama. It's awesome. I'm just worried for our audience. How many other Umama Cabrias are there?
There's
I'm
one more.
No, yeah.
Guys, I was mind blown. I thought I was the only one in the universe, but there's
No.
one more, and she took the Instagram handle.
No, I was at the airport 2 years ago, and I saw the other Ryan Bell that has a really decent following. I think his following actually might supersede mine. And I was like, hey, you're Ryan Bell, and he didn't even know me. And he goes, wait a second, who are you? And I said, I'm Ryan Bell. And he was like, I was like, look, really, and I took a selfie with the other Ryan Bell. You know, it's the problem of being white and of my age. There were apparently there was only 3 names that year. Ryan, Chris, and Matt, I think, were the 3 names.
But you know what, Ryan? Your impact on the world is so different from everyone else's, and I appreciate you as Ryan Bell.
Oh, you. So my personal brand is nowhere near as important as what we're doing at where I work. So follow us at Comcast Sport. We are in Atlanta. We are connecting with the world of sports tech, and you know, definitely find our newsletter. We'd love to have you as a part of our community, and let's find ways that we can all amplify each other and build up some awesomeness. And if you want to learn more about the partners we work with, you know, that's from the Olympics to NASCAR to golf to US ski team and swimming, everything. Go to ComcastSportsTech.com. And we talked about the investment areas and the areas that we're looking at in innovation. So if you want to understand the landscape of sports technology, that's where you go. comcastsportstech.com. Boy, we didn't plug a lot this panel, but I sure hit it hard at the end. We so appreciate you guys joining and giving us those questions that I thought were going to derail us. But Umama, you're the best. And let's see.
Thank you, and thank you guys.
Be the change you want to be in the world. All right, guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and thank you a lot for joining.
Bye guys.